Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and today's Saturday special. Welcome back, and if you're new to Quartzlight, we look at car brochures from around the world 3 times a week. You're currently watching the Saturday special, where we review what we looked at during the week. We usually look at a short brochure, too short for the normal episodes, and then we end with a bit of a look ahead of what the week has to offer. So if that interests you in any way, please consider subscribing. Anyway, what did we have a look at in the week? So here we go, the brochures we looked at. Monday we looked at the Citroen C15 van, and what a great little van. I have to read this little bit of a comment that Florent made on this, if I just read that to you. It says, in France the car is now considered as an icon of the utility van from the 80s to the end of the 90s. Even today in French countryside it's still in service. The car became a cult car indeed. Everyone loved it. Ugly but reliable, efficient, economic and durable. Long life to the C15, and I think that really sums up this little French van so very much. So thank you, Florent, for that little comment. I did appreciate it. We then looked at the very popular Peugeot 205. Lots of us have got memories of that 205, of course, a very important car for Peugeot. And then we went all the way back to the 60s. I know a lot of people don't really remember these cars too well from the 60s, but I think they're very important cars when we're looking at Ford Friday. So I hope you don't mind me going all the way back to the 60s. And indeed, the brochures are very nice, how they're drawn, and what a great car the Corsair was. So that brings us up to date and what we're going to look at today. Saturday special, a short show, so very short brochures. And what a strange little brochure this is for the Opel Monza. It's kind of really just like a bit of a flyer, a bit of a fold out sheet. Obviously something that was probably just meant to be looked at and thrown away. But here it is, surviving very nicely. So this is from 77-78, and a little price guide as well from dated 17th of October 78, so we can see the prices of these. And the Monza, a lovely styled car, and there's a really nice picture in this brochure that really reminds me of the 70s, but I really like it as well, which is one of the reasons why I picked this particular brochure out, because the front cover isn't really a front cover, is it? You know, if you've got the get up, Monza has the go, and a little bit of a very basic write up, and this very tiny little picture of the Opel Monza. And of course, the Opel Monza, as we'll see in the price, it wasn't a cheap car by any stretch of the imagination back in the 70s. It was kind of like competing against cars like the Mercedes-Benz C123 and probably even the BMW 6 Series, those sorts of like long distance fastbacks, sort of executive fastbacks, I guess you would describe them as, these big coupes. But anyway, let's have a look inside the brochure and see what we can see. And then we fold it out, and we get this great big poster styled picture, somewhat almost you could put on your bedroom wall as a child. I kind of wish it wasn't a moving shot and a still shot to see more details, but still a nice image, particularly in this very much this 70s sort of metallic green colour, which really seems to suit it very well indeed. The Opel Monza came out in 1977. This would be like the first generation, the Monza A1, which went from 77 to 1982, before it had a little bit of a styling update, and the Opel Monza as a whole lasted until 1986, of course. But I particularly like this sort of styling of this coupe as it slopes away in this huge hatch area. But like I say, it wasn't a cheap car, and we'll look at the prices later. But anyway, let's open up the brochure, because this actually isn't my favourite picture in here. It's over the next leaf. So as we fold it all back, we get these really lovely images. So I'm going to zoom in on some of this and, read through some of this text as well. So this really is my favourite little image. What a lovely car it does look in this metallic green, and gives us a good look at how this sort of lift back opens. A huge lip, unfortunately, for this poor guy carrying all these luggage in there, and I'm sure it was a bit of a tight squeeze. There isn't much more room for that luggage, really, is there? These really nice alloy wheels as well, and I particularly like this, which is very 70s. This is like black section in the middle. But if we look down, the seats are incredible. So there's a matching green seats. How lovely are those, with this little bit of a wood section in there as well. And this obviously is an automatic. Even looks like it's got a bit of a green dashboard as well, so the specifications on this particular model are really nice. This would have been the 3-litre E, of course. And then we'll have a look at some of this text as well. So it's describing this, and it's talking about good enough reasons for a change. The Monza has been designed for those who refuse to accept that luxury and high performance are incompatible, or that an entertaining car is by definition an impractical one. We create it for people who manage to preserve, alongside their executive duties, their own individual lifestyle and their own particular sporting instincts. It is not merely a match for traditional types of car, such as the coupe or luxury saloon in many respects. It surpasses them. It has a large saloon's roominess without its external dimensions. Potentially a 5-seater, it offers ample room for 4 plus their luggage. At the same time, it has superb drivability in terms of performance, handling and safety. It is a car that for the first time blends a large saloon's benefits with the agility of a sports coupe. Then on the back page, it's got a little bit more details which we'll have a look at, and this lovely image. I do particularly like the Monza from this angle, so we'll zoom in a little bit and have a look at some of this text. So it starts by saying the basis for vice-free handling, which is a little bit unusual. It tells us the Monza's suspension sets a new standard even in this class of car, and a little bit of a look at that suspension layout. And a source for exhilarating performance. Complementing the Monza's new suspension is a high-performance 6-cylinder 3-litre engine, and a little bit of an image of that as well. And then it goes on to say what looks right. The aerodynamic design and luxurious interior trim hide a body construction which owes much to the latest safety research. And then finally we've got a few figures here as well. So that 6-cylinder 3-litre engine, top speed of 133 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 8.5 for the manual, and then 130 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 10 seconds for the auto. You really wanted the manual. It was certainly the fastest Opel to date. And at the bottom, a little bit of a little Opel marketing unit, General Motors, and I think we've got a bit of a date down there. Looks like printed in the Federal Republic of Germany, July 78. And then a zoom in on that lovely rear of this Monza, like I say, badged here 3-litre E. And quite early, I think, for those sort of like smoked rear lights. We kind of like think of that more in the 80s, don't we? That there it is in the 70s with these smoked rear lights. There we got the price list for the Monza, and of course the Senator's in here as well. Effective 17th of October 78, so let's see how much it cost. Here we go with the prices. So the Monza 3-door coupe 3-litre E, Total £9,762.48. That's a lot of money in 78. I always kind of like think about it and compare it to my dad, his brand new Ford Sierra Sapphire. Yes, it was only a 1.8L, but that was roughly how much he paid in 1988 for a Sierra. And there we go, all the way back in 78 you're paying £9,762.48 for a brand new Monza 3 litre E. But it was a lot of car, of course, and there was also different packs. There was something called the S pack. I always thought the S pack had a limited slip differential, but it's kind of like showing that there is an actual option for that limited split differential. So I don't know exactly what that S pack had. Probably those alloy wheels, and there's also options for the 2 rear seat belts and a 4-speed manual transmission. Strangely, it's just a no charge option for that. We also have a look at some of the standard equipment. So auto transmission amazingly is standard, so you can just choose if you wanted a manual and automatic at no extra cost, which is certainly unusual at this time. But you can certainly see well equipped, as you would imagine for a car of this price. Interestingly, halogen headlamps and with wash wipe. Again, you think about that more in the 80s, but there we go. The 70s indeed had those headlamp wash wipes on them. But as you can see, a very well equipped car for the time. There we go, that wraps up our Saturday special. Any memories of the Opel Monza, please jot them in the comments. Next week, on Monday, we're going to look at the car of the year, 1990. On Wednesday, we're going to look at a Nissan that's built in Britain. And then on Friday, we're going to go over the pond to the US of A for your Ford Fridays. So we'll see you very soon. Have a great weekend. Take care and goodbye.